Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the ESL Arena in Katowice. Of course, this is the ESL One Cologne offline qualifiers, and we are now into our third game of the day. We're going to be heading into a patch of games in which we see all the teams with one win and one loss play against each other. And no one qualifies and no one gets relegated from these matches, but it sets up some very important storylines for tomorrow. And speaking of important storylines, we have a pretty darn big rematch here. These two teams went head-to-head in the grand final of the EU Minor at DreamHack Tours. That's why they're here in the first place. Time to present to you the first team. They're here on my right or your left. They are the HellRaisers. Showed us a very strong start in their first day of games. We definitely had them pegged as a front runner amongst the other teams at this event. But going up against G2 yesterday, definitely a struggle for them here as well. They went down 16-8 on Dust 2, even with Mo contributing 81%, or in 81% of rounds, should I say. He was all over the map, but not enough to drag his team through it. There are some big names on this lineup. We know them, we've seen them before, but we do need to see them perform here as well. And of course, on my left or your right, their opponents, the winners of the EU Minor, it's Team Dignitas. Again, they had to go up against FaZe Clan in day one and did fall 16-8. It was a tough match for them on Mirage, and we didn't see this aggressive attacking Dignitas that we're used to seeing on their best map. However, things turned around yesterday when we went over towards Nuke, a strange map there being picked by Team Empire. Dignitas held through a pretty nasty T side and had some solid play on the CT to lock the CIS team out. And Cajun B, in every single round of that game, either got a kill, an assist, or survived. Both of these two teams have players who play the AWP that are very, very impactful. It's a grudge match. It's a rematch, of course. It was 2-1 to Dignitas in Tours. Let's see how this one turns out. Alex, when I say Cajun, what do you say?
They said it for me. B is what I'll do, Mitch. I'm sorry about that one, mate. I was not going to take any of that. But, I mean, I'll be honest, I would be really upset if we see Nuke again. That was such a messy play from Dignitas.
Now, we talked about it as well. Not much has really changed on Nuke, I think, is the opinion we're getting from a lot of players. That T side is still super nasty, and we're seeing a lot of teams default to rushing into A. So sure. I don't think we're going to see that from HellRaisers.
Hey, man, give it some time. Give it some time. There's some silly things going on outside in the new Nuke that I'll be sure to probe them about if it does come up in the veto. I say them. Pansy and Vendetta are hanging out with me to talk about this one. Now, this is when I don't want to fall into that footfall of saying this is now where things get interesting. We've already lost two teams, both from the CIS mine, but now we sit at that 1-1 point of this twist format where they've shown they're capable, but they have to really demonstrate it. And it does mean that the games could be a little closer than what you did just have the joy of casting, Lauren.
Sweet joy.
Yeah, sweet joy, and I think our 7th cobblestone as well. But let's get into it. Let's get into it with a topic that I have yet to breach about Dignitas. Then I'm looking at you because I don't know how much you can help me with this one. The man that we haven't addressed behind Dignitas, Rugger, I believe, is the name on the back of his shirt, and he's going to take the coaching role for Dignitas. What can you tell me about his past and what he's capable of?
Well, I guess his glory days were back in CSS, where he played for a team called Team Dynamic, who had some of the hottest talents in Denmark, remarkably good. Actually won a season of EPS Nordic. So, you know, he's been around the Danish scene for a very, very long time. Even played CSGO as well. If I'm not mistaken, he played for Copenhagen Wolves at the beginning, right after the game came out, and kept going for quite some time. So competed, you know, at, I think it was season 1 of EPS Raid Call in versus Natu, actually. You know. Was around here.
Natu had some choice words to say about him, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's been around forever, and he's also been known as a guy who isn't necessarily the strongest individual player, but always has something to bring in terms of strategy and the tactical stuff. So he's going to be a great secondary asset to have for MSL to kind of bounce ideas off of and actually talk through and analyze games.
And he's actually touched on the next subject I was going to ask you, Lauren. MSL. he does seem to be the Smiths of Dignitas. He's always getting all of the kind of abuse thrown towards him as an individual.
I think there's very much two sides to MSL, though, the way you look at him. It's like, do you look at him as the guy who sometimes picks up orbs and doesn't do so well with it, or the guy who tactically can actually put Dignitas in really good places sometimes? Sometimes their Mirage games are outstanding, and you see things, you see nuances, you see certain maps, you're like, wow, these guys actually have some really competitive plays. But then sometimes you look at MSL, you're like, you're not quite up there on the op. You're not going to be able to compete with the likes of Oscar, for example, one-to-one. So I think it's going to be a very tough matchup for him. I hope that people look at him more as ideally more of a leader. But even though with Rugged there, you'd maybe think, where's the rest of the performance, MSL?
Yeah, we'll explore that further after we introduce HellRaisers, as I'm just throwing papers around. Let's have a look, though, at HellRaisers, a team that no doubt have already caught our eye. There's some young talent here from the region, and I'm going to let you run down that roster, actually, Halvor, because there are some names that we will mention a whole lot more than others, but I'd like to steer clear of Oscar throughout the entire discussion of HellRaisers. Can you do that for me?
I can do that. Obviously, we've got Angel, who's the old head, I guess, of the gang. Brings a ton of experience from pretty much every top CIS team there has ever been. Well, nearly, obviously. Steiko and Zero, two of the younger kids, young talents, really, who have been brought in together with the one we shall not name.
Thank you, thank you.
And they're very strong riflers. We haven't seen Zero have the kind of performances he has online at offline events just yet. We have seen Steiko time and again kind of be up there in the top two in terms of just getting impact frags and whatnot. And lastly, we have the newest addition, which is Bondic, who was the staple of the old Flipside team, constantly giving them solid performances, getting frags, and basically just being someone you can rely on heavily. He hasn't had the best of tournaments so far up to this point either, so expecting him to be very important for them going up against Dignitas.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to see some of the players outside of the man who will not be named, because it was at G2 they played on Dust 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
We saw no one but
The
Voldemort, essentially.
Thank you.
So yeah, no one else turned up, and it was horrific to watch, to be fair. The run boost just kept coming through. They achieved nothing with it. It seemed this very kind of fruitless
cool to
attempt.
look at, though.
Yeah, yeah, until like Angel just got like killed mid-flight.
Mid-air,
It's just
by
like,
Smiths.
yeah, you deserved it at that
It's
point.
like, in the arms of an angel,
please
just gets
carry
taken
on.
down by
Continue,
Smith.
continue.
Thank you. I have a beautiful voice and the veto is ready. So let's
Alright.
get that on and just completely move past my attempts at singing, because the map could be very interesting. Let's not forget that Dignitas are one of the few teams to have brought Nuke into their gameplay already. And alongside that, we did already highlight that perhaps HellRaisers had a couple of faults before they even got into game with their veto. Ven, what have you got for me in anticipation of already? Wow, they're coming in thick and fast.
Yeah, they're just blasting away, and already I'm a bit surprised by the Mirage veto, but I guess this is HellRaisers respecting Dignitas to the full degree. And honestly, I expect this to be between two maps, and that's going to be Cobble and Overpass. They've played Overpass at the minor as well, and Dignitas came out pretty comfortably ahead. So with Cobble being gone and it being up to them, they haven't vetoed out Train, and Train is one of the standard vetoes for HellRaisers as well, so this is looking very much like Overpass, and it would be the first time we actually see Overpass this tournament.
They did play chicken with it, though.
They did, and now they're feeling like, oh man.
Yeah, no, I'm... Oh, really?
No, oh wait. Okay, yeah, so this is me just not having my glasses, not being able to read, because Overpass wasn't there.
second,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay,
happened.
no.
It's happened.
It's happened.
Again, okay, so this is where we start the discussion, okay? What did we learn from Dignitas on Nuke? Because it wasn't that, it wasn't beautiful. It was most definitely a very chaotic game on Nuke.
They've theorized well about the game, or the map. You can definitely see that by their executions. Honestly, I felt they relied too heavily on their executions rather than playing a bit more freeform and kind of exploring. Like if you go back to the old Nuke, I got really sick and tired of seeing NIP pretty much just being too much freeform and kind of running out in the yard. Than being better than everyone else. Dignitas took it to the direct opposite side of it and simply relied on executions most of the time, and that didn't work out too well. So they're going to have to mix things up and see if they can learn something from how HellRaisers play their city side if they want to be more effective.
Yeah, and they played against Empire, right?
That's
on
right.
Nuke. It was even the way that Empire approached it that impressed me. The Dig didn't even seem to keep as a consideration. They didn't particularly have people playing the outside area. They're playing down in the likes of Secret. They had that double stack in Secret, and it seemed that Dig didn't really consider that an option. It seemed like they've dry runned a lot of, gone through a lot of styles that they considered, but I don't know if they practically have played it as much as maybe we'd like. So, again, this is one of the only knife rounds that I guess really matters at this point.
It's true, and that's because, of course, the bias of this map did still stand rather vigilant, as Mitch mentioned over on the stage. It has continued to be favouring of the defensive side, and actually, you know what, Dignitas do get the choice, and it looks like they will be taking CT to start with.
I think HellRaisers has made a horrible mistake.
Yes.
Okay, and that leads nicely into where I was going to throw you now. You suggesting the map has kind of crippled HellRaisers' chances of a second win on the board?
Unless they have been practicing this, I don't know. I don't know when, because it's been one of their staple vetoes leading up to this very match. So if they felt so confident in it previously, I don't understand why they would veto it unless they had Dignitas in their sights after that minors. Maybe they have a target on their back or something.
Maybe.
Or, can I brainstorm?
Yeah,
Think out loud?
go nuts.
If ever there was a time to have secretly worked on a map.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, there's no arguing against that. It's just, let's be honest here, this is still a qualifier to the major, right?
$1 million major.
Let's be honest, this is not where you experiment. This is where you hopefully lock in.
You go for the safe things.
Right,
what
and this is not what they've done. This is a huge pressure on the man who won't be named.
And also, not just the pitfall of going down 1 and 2, but if you go down 1 and 2, your potential next opponent could be Immortals. So we're not even talking about an easier necessarily opponent if you actually fall to Dignitas here.
That's a good point.
So super scary pick from HellRaisers in my eyes, and unless they have something magical planned, I expect this to be one of the biggest veto mistakes of this tournament.
And that's a huge, huge finger pointed there by Halvor, suggesting this could be down a real downside for HellRaisers, but it's only we're gonna let their gameplay do the rest of the talking. I just want to quickly close out with your prediction, Lauren. He's already suggested HellRaisers are down and out. What have you got?
Dig of the side they want, I assume now. They'll be standing on the CT. I don't think this is going to go away from them. I think that HR are very much in an uphill battle now.
All right, well, you heard from the desk. It's Dignitas versus HellRaisers, and the win here would put them just one win away from the $1 million major. It's going to get real dicey from here on out at the ESL Arena, and your casters are ready to enjoy Nuke. As are your observers. Good luck, Rush, with this one.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're kind of ready. What would you say earlier in your tweet? The best match of the day? So much for that. Here we go into our second map on Nuke, which, ironically enough, so far has been played more than both Train and Overpass.
How nuts is that?
Yeah.
Right.
Both times by Dignitas,
Yeah,
of course.
that's exactly what I was about to say as well. I suppose the great banter here for you is...
I've never casted this before,
exactly.
so I don't know what to call
so
out the
Blue's
positions on the map.
completely boned, so I'm going to enjoy myself watching you squirm. Either way, HellRaisers on the T side have themselves, the molly's going to be thrown through the windows, landing on the site. Meanwhile, Dignitas going to be trying to hold down from A. Rubino peering into squeaky doors. The push comes in, lands a headshot through the smoke. MSL, meanwhile, with the CZ doing work, but the Fed dive is in.
Going downstairs now, over towards the B bomb site to try and take control here, but Tensky spotted some of this. He's waiting for them to go out onto the site area itself, and Cell also looping around here too, but Oscar's got Config stuck there behind those, I don't even know what those are, water purifiers, I guess. Taking out Config, and now bringing things down to a 4-on-3, where HellRaisers still trying to forge a way into a site where they can get this bomb onto the ground.
Yeah, coming through Decon. Of course, the newly created room into Nuke. Cajun B in the shadows of Vent. And HellRaisers are doing their best to sell this fake onto B. They can still wrap their way around Secret and come up A from outside if needs be. But Dignitas have the player advantage, and they're going to be looking to have some crossfires down. Oscar catches Cajun B. Brings it back to a 3-on-3 situation.
The rest of these guys now boiling into the A bomb site to take control here. Bondic finding another pickup. MSL gonna have to try and hold this. Finds the first one, but he's out of bullets now, and they're just gonna overwhelm him. So finally securing the site, and they're gonna be able to plant it. Whereas for Tensky now, he's gonna have to try and work his way all the way back around. Still with the USP, he does have armor behind. He's got the angle advantage there against Angel, taking him down. Now he's got a real chance at this one too. Bondic only at 40 HP, and he just picked up a flashbang. Gonna be tossed that in, but it's gonna be going out there into the open now as he tries to take down one of the last players left alive. Bondic just looping around, playing with him now, but he's gonna be tapping onto the bomb, but that proves to be a big mistake as he only brings him down to 2 HP. Bondic just barely closes out there, and HellRaisers will win the pistol round.
Very well played by Bondic, but very unfortunate for Tensky. As you call Bondic, just a small dust away from death. But Dignitas now will be forcing their way in. Tensky with the scout, rest of the team, CZ and Deedles in the order of play. I'm very interested to see how Oscar's going to shape up here on the AWP side. On CT side, we saw yesterday a lot of frags coming down from Garage. Cajun B had definitely the upper hand there. Tensky is going to be taking a scout as expected outside. Best place to take the long-range weapons. Up to Silo. Config lands the first one tap though and takes out Angel, and that's a free kill as well. He loses no health in the process, so big opening start for Dignitas.
And the scout still looking for some more pickups as well from Tensky 0. If he peek forward just a little bit more, he might have actually been spotted, and now there'll possibly be a chance to with Config. Not seeing 0 just as of yet. And Rubino as well, coming back to support the A site just a little bit more. Cajun B, though, he's going to be under pressure quickly as they're rolling out over here to the ramp room, trying to push downstairs into the B-bomb site. Cajun B can't get away quickly enough. Stico's going to grab him from the back. And not only this, too, but Bondic picking up another kill. They're very quickly clearing things out. And again, they'll find their chance to plant the bomb.
Bomb still in the hands of Zero. This is where the Scout's going to struggle a little, but if they go down to the lower site, then Tenski Scout effectively useless, barring some crazy plays. Rubino Decoy is going to be biding his time, waiting for that bomb to get planted. Peers around the corner, lands the headshot, closes the door as well. The cheeky play, but he is going to get that bomb drop. Meanwhile, Stico with the UMP charges straight down into the face of Rubino, takes him down. That will be the round slipping away from Dignitas. Nice opening start with Configs, 1 tap, but 4 kills for Stico. HellRaisers with the 2-0 lead.
Stico doing some nice work around the new room there. 4 kills with the UMP, and mainly finding most of the impact for HellRaisers there in order to close out. Dignitas seem to be fighting pretty well outside in that area when HellRaisers vied for control of that early on, but then shied away from that. Were able to retake control of the round for themselves. 2-0 to start off, and this is going to be the trash round now for Dignitas. No investment really coming in at all besides that P250 on config.
Absolutely. Very little hope of getting anything done. As a result, going to be charging through on the ramp side, and nearly gets a triple spray down. Again, it's an expendable weapon though, no huge deal. That being said, MSL will put bullets to faces and Bondic goes down alongside MSL himself. Tenski, UMP in hand, picked up from the corpse of HellRaisers. Not good enough to save this round. HellRaisers take the 3-0. As you called though, Blue, that was a throwaway round for Dignitas. They now have the assault rifles coming in.
And we'll see exactly what they can forge on the defense here up to this point. The guys on HellRaisers still just bringing 5 AKs to the party along with the full buy. We'll take a look at where exactly they're going to be heading towards now as things get started. They've sort of been taking their time about things, not necessarily wanting to rush directly into the engagement. That time, Team Dignitas forced the issue, so they had to go in pretty quickly. But the first couple of rounds, a little bit slower and a bit more methodical about how they take control of these sites. Sort of just waiting for an opening and then punishing that as hard as they possibly can.
Lack of grenades though for Dignitas, just the one smoke. They got flashes and a HE, but the smoke has now just been utilized with so much time left. MSL will be peering around with Rubino, but a slow, steady approach from HellRaisers, not giving anything away just yet. They have got a lot of retail over on secret side and edging their way in. So Dignitas playing this one incredibly passively, giving up a lot of room, but Tenski on top of the boxes. Should have the upper hand on Stickle, but he actually looks to his left-hand side, and this could cost him his life. You can see the Stickle spot in his head, and he's going to land the shot. Very unfortunate timing for Tenski, but now you can see how much of the map and how much presence HellRaisers have across the board. This is very difficult, like a boa constrictor just tightening around. Dignitas, it's just got a whole lot worse for them.
KGB finally picking up a kill, almost reacting a little bit there to his teammate who broke out the vent, so it's spooked, but still able to find the kill. However, Sticko tries to go up towards Heaven there, and MSL says, no, get back down there. It's going to force him back with the rest of his teammates here, as he still is trying to hold on to a grasp of the A-bomb site, whereas the rest of HellRaisers themselves, they made some progress closer downstairs, but KGB going to be trying to get a bit more aggressive here, moving out, can't take down Zero. So he finds another kill, and Dignitas are slowly waning here, but the timer as well ticking down. Finally, though, that bomb going into the B-bomb site. They should, at this point forward, be able to hold it. Rubino and MSL so far away from the combat zone, they might just have to fall away and save.
I remember yesterday as well, Blue, Dignitas, their T side was absolutely horrendous. It was the CT side where they put, I think it was 11 or 12 rounds on the board. So for them to already be 4-0 down, I'm not saying it's over by any stretch of imagination, but this has been a very rocky start, and they're going to have to start the bounce back soon. Rubino desperate to save this weapon, and judging by the positions of HellRaisers, he should be able to do just that.
I mean, we saw it yesterday. It just became an incredibly CT-centric match. But
yes,
from what we've seen in the past, and from the very few matches as well that have been played out, and just like general puggier style matches, it has in some cases shifted over to much more of a T-centric occasion. There, it's trying to even it out, of course, but we've yet to really judge it from a pro standpoint. So especially here at like a major qualifier, this helps to sort of establish that precedent.
Absolutely, yeah. It's difficult for us to really categorically say this is still CT-sided or this is T-sided, because we just simply haven't got enough sample size to back that from. But what you can say from yesterday, at least for Dignitas, their T-side was not solid at all. They had a lot of problems. They weren't really playing aggressively, and that's ultimately where most of the T rounds came against them. But meanwhile, Oscar is going to try and put down this eco, picking up Rubino. The one player that managed to save has already bit the dust.
And Oscar looking for some more pickups as well, but not finding the shots as easily as he was before. Does bring a couple of them down pretty low here, but that nade going to boil in, actually misses them completely. Nice by Dignitas getting out of the way of that. But ultimately, though, they are still working with just pistols here. And the HellRaisers having some target practice this time around, as again, they don't lose a single player. Continuing to push forward now, 5-0 as we go into the next gun round for Dignitas.
Yeah, Mitch was interviewing Config yesterday because there's a lot of questions up in the air from us. I know Alex as well was very interested to know this answer. Is who was going to be the main AWP? Who was going to be taking it? Because MSL in the past, of course, historically was AWPing. Rubino tried his hand for a little while as well, special maps like Overpass. But Config effectively said that Cajun B pretty much is taking the AWP on most maps now. So he did yesterday on Nuke. No huge surprise that he's picked it up for himself again here. And MSL, of course, playing on the inner side. AWP's not really a viable choice, so he's going to be running with the M4 instead.
Zero here, behind for now, trying to open up the windows there so they can get some nade coverage inside of the site. But still a waiting game for HellRaisers, as they have been for most of this half so far. Extremely passive about the way that they've been playing this T side. However, you can see from Dignitas, though, they're being a little bit more active. Config pushing through outside right now, looking for some intel around the silo wrap. Most of the players from HellRaisers that you noticed before are sitting up on top here on this rooftop area and on top of the silo itself right now. So now as they wrap back around here, Config is trying to decide if he wants to venture forth. He does have a nice lineup, though, to flank in just a few seconds after this, though, when they start this take. Now, in come the Molotovs and the smokes onto the site. It does look a bit scrappy, but as they move their way in, it should have enough coverage to at least allow them to get out without being immediately shut down.
You know, behind the vent could be the linchpin for Dignitas, especially as his partner in crime on A site has been put down. That's MSL. Here comes the push through the smoke. They still thought he was there, but he's already relocated in the third kill. Beautiful play from Rubino. Very intelligent. But now it's Sticko's turn. He's still alive. Let's get back to the action. He's still alive. He hasn't quite bowed down just yet. It's like he won't get this round, and Cajun B puts the final nail in the coffin for round number 6. But it's interesting as well to see how different approaches come in, because Empire yesterday, who were Dignitas were playing against, were very A-centric, like super fast, squeaky charges through hut as well. HellRaisers did still pull a trigger on A, but it was a lot more slow and steady, and a lot more flashes and smokes coming out to accompany it.
But finally now, with Dignitas getting up onto the board, HellRaisers do have this nice streak at the beginning going for them, so still actually a lot of money left over even after this buy too. Zero specifically sitting on 7.5k, so they've got a great start here. Dignitas is not really impacting at all, but this time again, starts off Angel very aggressive with his own position. Look how far pushed up he is already. Cajun B, thankfully, is tucked away pretty safely further back there. It's going to be Config in the garage itself, but there we go. You can see Angel try to sneak his way over there towards the stairway, but Cajun B punishing that, as is Rubino. Oscar, though, with a nice shot at the Config, striking back a little bit for HellRaisers, but ultimately they're now down in a 2-on-4, and they have made zero progress on getting any map control.
That's a very good point. That's one of the things that saw them take the 5 rounds in the first place, getting through secret, getting around the back of radio/ramp. Not really any joy so far. That being said, though, they've slowly got themselves into a winnable situation as it's gone back to a 3-on-2. And Oscar and Bondik, their team alive. One raw talent, the other very much a veteran of Counter-Strike. But can they chime together? Can they tag one another through and get this round clutch? MSL's done so much damage to both of them. In actual fact, bags himself the double kill. And Dignitas will get their second consecutive round.
Keeping it together now, but I still think they have at least 1 or 2 more to go through as HellRaisers, like I said at the beginning of the last round, stack up the cash entirely. In fact, there's another op coming in for these guys as well, which is going to get tossed over to Oscar. And beyond that, still the 4 AKs and a full utility buy for everyone as well. So they are not done fighting just as of yet. Dignitas still in the hot seat here. Make sure they can strike back on this CT side and make sure they get that lead going too, as we come to expect, at least from a couple of matches we've seen recently.
Very true, Blue hit the nail on the head. They're not out of the stress, out of the pressure just yet. And it's just been applied once again from Oscar directly to the throat of Dignitas. And this is something we didn't see a great deal of yesterday, and that's utilizing the new catwalk outside, connecting from Silo. That's exactly what Angel's doing, but from lockers. He will meet Cajun, who with his USP fends him off for now, swats him away. HellRaisers, although they have the player advantage too, very close to death.
Dino's going to want to be careful with this push from Secret, as there are players watching for someone to push from that direction as well. Oscar, though, trying to lurk around the smoke. He sees him there, but the connection not going to fully hit its mark there, so inside of the Hell Room, he should be safe for now. Beyond this, though, HellRaisers doing damage. They still need to find some mark, but there's a good shot from Cajun B.
Jeez. Clips
onto Oscar just before he goes away to safety. And not only this, but Angel, in the meantime, he's pushed up the ramps and is going to be able to take down Cajun B in his attempt to retreat. Rubino tucked away in this corner, though, striking right back, taking down Sticko.
That double stack, though, what is that? That would have completely caught HellRaisers off guard. Like, hold a second, there's 2 players there? I know HellRaisers have clutched it, because why the hell not? Angel, who came around the back, as you said, from Heaven. finalizes the round.
Yeah, it was actually, they should have known he was there. I guess they thought he had moved forward outside there onto the catwalks and onto the site, but again, Tensky just caught entirely off guard by the fact that Angel was actually still in this room in heaven. So with that, HellRaisers are going to strike right back now, and Dignitas not establishing enough economy, so they're going to have to go right onto a save.
This is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for Sticko to start to get himself more in the forefront of the action for HellRaisers. Top fragging with 10 for 5. Very instrumental in this 6-2 lead. Dignitas, well, their spree was short-lived, and they're going to go for hyper-aggression through into lobby. MSL leading the charge with the CZ, has Rubino behind him. In actual fact, there's a third player there as well, but they're getting picked off one by one. Zero, Sticko, Bondic, all coming in with kills. HellRaisers will pretty much flawlessly fend off the eco from Dignitas.
Trying to get up in their faces, but it does not work at all. HellRaisers nicely done with the holds, keeping things under their own control here now, and leading 7-2 on the T side of Nuke. A big lead for these guys, and this is now going to spell some big trouble for Dignitas, regardless of how the rest of this half outcomes now. With how poor their T side was played yesterday, unless they've completely recentered it, then this could allow HellRaisers to run away, assuming their own CT side is solid.
That's exactly it, because I think, if memory serves me correctly, they only got 4 rounds on their T half yesterday. So what do they fall back onto? It's not like, oh, we're saving the best for last, boys. This is it. It's do or die, pretty much. MSL is going to both do and die, as the case may be. Gets the trade frag, and Config making sure that there's no more Angel shenanigans outside on Catwalk, but that does sacrifice the bomb plant onto A. That smoke, unfortunately, bounces through Heaven and goes into Hell instead, as does the Molotov.
No luck on these post nades coming out from HellRaisers.
2 trick shots in a row.
So with that now, Oscar gonna have to throw the second line to keep them back, but Cajun B in the flames moves in and punishes Oscar. Config as well, fragging from up on top there. They got Zero and Bonnet, but look at Angel again. Heaven is his domain, and as he moves in, but he needs to stop the defuse. Rubino is well in progress for this one, and he's just gonna be able to do it. Angel, again, big clutches from up on top in Heaven. Puts another round up onto the board for HR.
Just living up to his name. Match made.
An Angel from Heaven.
There you go. Unbelievable. Dignitas are gonna feel sick to their stomach. They've had opportunities. They let Nuke go through. They played chicken. They're like, go on then. Are we there yet? We there? And HellRaisers are like, all right, boys, let's go.
You won't.
Let's wreck them. You what, mate? Let's go. You got no fans. And now Dignitas are getting destroyed. They're on to an eco again, 4 P250s.
So Dignitas now trying to play a little bit more aggressively again. You can see Tensky push up there through the radio room to catch some of the guys. First T-room they'll get control of here. And Sticko, though, trying to hold things off, but he's actually caught with a nade in hand. Can't switch over in time, so Cajun B gets some good timing on that peek. And does find the first kill for Dignitas.
Solid start, but we've seen Dig do this before. Not really get much out of it. HellRaisers have taken control of outside again, and which has been a consistent factor. Dignitas really haven't had Cajun B with an AWP. I think we've seen him with it once or twice at most, and not able to utilize it from outside. AK in his hands, though. And these rounds where HellRaisers should win, but Dignitas would be desperate and bite the hands off HellRaisers if given the chance.
HellRaisers themselves, for the past couple of rounds, they were being a lot more tactical towards the beginning, but as of the past like 5 or 6 now, they've been fairly straightforward with their offensive, sort of just lining up these smokes as quickly as possible, then going into the site. But on this eco, they seem to have slowed down a little bit and are almost a bit timid here. Tensky finds a good angle, but can't actually connect the shots, so not wanting to stick around for too long. Retreats into hell. Angel's going to be chasing him, though. But again, he can't find too many hits either. Only brings him down to 89, and just for safety, he's going to decide to volley that off.
Yeah, playing slow is a result of knowing that in the past when Dignitas have been on ecos, they've liked to push through into lobby. Rubino just comes out the door, but a flash lands in his face, and he's not going to get the upper hand. That being said, Oscar will be picked off after getting the bomb planted, and now it's Angel's turn to come on in. 2 kills for him, looking for a third one with the Glock, but AimK from MSL is up to the task. Oh, he gets put down, leaving Tensky in a 1v2 and getting charged from behind. Zero gives HellRaisers their 9th round, and Dignitas from this point forward, I've got to say, on this half, they have to win every round if they're going to have a chance.
Fairly close there on the site itself, as there were some positions being held by Dignitas that HellRaisers were not counting on having to deal with there, but again, they bring it back. Zero holds things in the vents there. I think it was Tensky that ends up getting spotted a little bit toward the end where he could have had a good angle lined up and gets knocked out. So Dignitas once again falling flat here, but on to another gun round, and this includes the op for Cajun B. A lot more presence heading towards outside, as you can see there too, to try and prevent that. Oscar peeking in to try if he can see anybody from the shed. Still nothing to be found, and Zero up on top of the silo finds the first kill with Config trading it out.
I feel Config is so potent in these kind of scenarios where he's allowed to be unleashed and play aggressively. So far, he's done his job. He's on the prowl for a second kill, but is the hunter about to become the hunted? The answer is no. Config is there. Could sense it. Gets him second kill outside, and now it's on Oscar and Bondic. We've seen this before in a 2 versus 4. It was MSL that put down the hammer and picked them both up in hut. Are we going to have a repeat performance?
And Oscar hoping somebody gets aggressive with the peek. That angle just not going to work to be able to find 10 skews hiding behind the boxes on top of the ramp drop. So for Cajun B up in heaven too. Almost connecting that shot, but falling a little bit short, I do believe. Now Bondic going to be jumping out the other window there. Getting some good damage out of these players, but the same thing as Cajun B can't actually execute. And now all of a sudden as Bondic picks up his first kill, Oscar picks one up as well. And the best part is they're not even going for the site. They're dropping down below and going into the B-bomb site instead, where they're going to be playing. Oh, this is that plant spot as well.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, once again, guys, that we're still playing on the old version of the client, which means there's no ladder on the silo at this point. You need to retake from the top or risk having to go for a very long rotate to be able to defuse that bomb.
That's it. Plus, there's so many positions to try and cover as well. There's 6 or 7 positions that are viable. And Oscar in a 1 versus 1 with the 10 health is going to make it work, of course, now with a change. No second entrance from Vents, but Decon is there, and Oscar's going to be able to see the position from in this door. It's going to be the fake. Tensky taps it. You can hear the squeaky door open, and Oscar lands the shot. HellRaisers will get a 10th. And Dignitas, I would also like to add, just lost a 4v2.
Some great shots coming out from Oscar there, and overall there, good performance from him, and mainly Angel as well, who's really showing up to this matchup too. We've seen him pull off some great plays from heaven, as ironic as that is. And of course, beyond this too, just been across the board a really great player. But Dignitas, we're not seeing anything from them at all here on this CT side, where it was great yesterday, but not carrying over that performance whatsoever. And heading into some of these last rounds, you can see even this kind of a buy here is going to be extremely scrappy. You got a P90 that makes a shotgun on MSL, 3 rifles, but 2 of them have been downgraded to FAMASas.
It's an unforgivable round to lose for Dignitas. I think it probably shows where their head is at right now. Definitely dipping somewhat. Need to get that chin back up. Config, and going to do just that. Kill comes out. He's been one of the shining lights. He's 9 for 12. Not fantastic, but he's the top fragger for Dignitas at this point. Whereas HellRaisers, one of the first times in recent memory, everyone's pulling their weight. Everyone's around the same amount of kills. Only 4 kill spread between the top fragger and the bottom, which is Angel and Zero respectively. So great performance across the board for HellRaisers, but can Dignitas try and claw this back to a 10-5? Again, they've drew the first blood, but only a smoke and a flash to play with. Not a great amount of weapons.
Oscar leaving himself in a bit of an awkward position there. Missing that first connection allows Config to go for the peek and take him down. Not only this, but he's going to move in and find a second and a third. Some good stuff from Config here. He takes down Bondic Zero along with Oscar. Sticko, last one rolling now. And we'll have to try and bring this back from the brink, or at the very least do as much damage as possible. He's lost the bomb. There's no way he's going to be able to recover this round, but at the very least he can try and take down a few players by holding in the T-room.
They should be able to be unleashed here because they've got enough funds to get another full buy in HellRaisers very comfortably as well. Whereas Dignitas, we already spoke about their lack of grenades, lack of top-tier weapons. Cajun B gets the AWP in his hands, but Config's actually on for the ace. He's already picked up 4. 15 seconds, and Sticko doesn't seem too interested. Maybe she's going to be looking for the exits and see if he can save this AK.
Hoping he can hold in the turret position and someone comes in his direction to hunt him down, but no way Dignitas can rationalize that right now with how iffy their economy is, despite the fact that there's only going to be 2 more rounds left after this one. But
they can't afford to throw any of these weapons away, absolutely. But no ace for Config. Sad times.
And unfortunate. That was some good stuff from him, and again, it's not like he's just holding that in a stable position and they're walking one by one. He actually actively is moving around to pick up those kills, finds the first 2 somewhere outside of Hell, and then moves into Garage to pick up the 3rd. So some nice stuff from him. Finally gives Team Dignitas a bit of life here as they pick up a 3rd round.
You'll see there, Config 1 shy of top fragging on either side, even though his team trails by 3 to 10. Just to show how well he's been playing. Predominantly from outside, as you highlight, Hell on top of that. Meanwhile, MSL going to be starting on top of the hut. Bino behind him in the same position he's played a few times. It's a very difficult place to get rid of, though. Just keep using that until HellRaisers push elsewhere on the map.
Angel with that smoke set did manage to successfully sneak his way all the way inside of Secret and is now waiting to see if anybody from Dignitas is going to wrap back around, as they've done this a few times, trying to aggressively push with 1 or 2 players up on top of here. Doesn't really look like they'll be going for it this round, though, and Oscar baited into a shot against Config, does not make the connection, but again, they still know that there is a large presence currently from HellRaisers on the outside area. As beyond that, after they take that early control, they've not moved anywhere else just as of yet.
Thing is, though, even though we can see from our perspective that they haven't gone down secret and they're not trying to push on to B. Dignitas have no idea because they've completely given up outside control. Cajun B, though, is going to land the frag, and now Config moves into position on Garage. So for now, maybe they can fend off this push. He looks for the jump shot. That would have been pretty disgusting if that had connected. But elsewhere, MSL will lock down Sticko. Good start for Dignitas. A second kill from MSL. It's looking even better for them. Now Config decides now's his time to push, but that's in the crosshairs of Zero. And Oscar very nearly lands himself the shot onto outside. So 20 seconds left. HellRaisers unlikely to get any success out of this round. Should be backing away.
Yeah, they're going to be stuck out here too is the problem. And 15 seconds left. I don't even think they're going to be able to run to a site in time. Time to roll back and spawn and hide in this area. Splitting up two. Tensky's on the hunt. See if he can find anything, but the problem is that while Oscar's safely running away, literally all the way to the back here, Zero has perched up somewhere else, and I don't think Tensky's going to be able to successfully spot either of them. So the saves come in. And despite this fact, most of these players here on HellRaisers are still pretty financially sound. May have to look at one Tech9 buy from Angel, but beyond this, it's still going to be a full buy.
Yep, as a result, those save weapons. That was the importance of HellRaisers. CZ, still powerful, especially on a fast push. If that's what Angel's going to go for, he has liked to try and push outside on Catwalk, so it wouldn't surprise me if we see that again. Zero is going to be coming up. And it's Angel actually pushes outside. Did Config spot this? He may work very well done so, but there's not much you can do about the CZ ripping your head off your shoulders. And now that CZ turns into an M4A4. Dignitas, they have to hold firm. Anything less than 5 rounds, I feel, just simply will not be enough against HellRaisers.
Oscar getting smoked off here just outside of the radio room, but he does have a little bit of an angle to see through. Nobody from the side of Dignitas pushing into that just as of yet, though. And they're still going to remain grouped up, a little bit more passive about it, besides Angel, though, who's already pushed his way a lot through lower, and there's a good pickup onto Rubino. Spots him on the very top of the stairway there and just pops his head right off. Tensky trying to hold his way in the ramp room here, spots them coming, but he's getting shot a lot through the box there. Sticko going to bring him down, and now only 2 left alive. MSL dropping down from the upper site, is able to eliminate Angel at the very least, but HellRaisers haven't even revealed their full intentions as of yet. They're finally now committing to this as they roll down through the ramp room, but Cajun B just found a huge kill taking down Bondic. Unfortunately, with Oscar immediately trading that out, it's not going to be much, and as MSL pushes out of the new hallway, he'll be the last to go down, and HellRaisers will take the first half 11-4.
They will indeed, and we're going to have to find out after this very short commercial break if Dignitas can weather the storm and somehow come back again from another 11-4 deficit. We'll see you right after this.
And in we go immediately to the second half now of HellRaisers versus Dignitas. HellRaisers with a strong T-sided start to this one. Go up 11-4. Now they jump on the defense, though, and this is going to be the real test because so far, most of these teams that we've seen play on Nuke have been extremely one-sided, with them either being extremely proficient on the T side or vice versa in Dignitas' case. But that CT side, we didn't see much of it, and already going into this one, they're going to look incredibly weak.
That's it. I don't necessarily want to say it's do or die for Dignitas, but it definitely feels like it could be going that way if they lose this pistol. So straight up stack coming through onto ramp, but Oscar's going to connect the first shot. All over the bombs dropped as well. It's up on the wrong side of ramp as far as Dignitas are concerned. They're going to have to trek back to get that, and Oscar's in prime position to hold this off. If he lands another headshot, which he has, fair play to Dignitas. They did just about get onto the bomb, but they find themselves in a 4-on-2.
And unfortunately, the struggle of getting down ramp. Now look at Config, though, pushing out very aggressively, going to be trying to hold the CTs back from getting back into the site. It's not going to work, though. Oscar picks up his third kill from the round. Tensky having a bit of an awkward duel with Bondik. He successfully takes control of the A site, but there's no bomb to be found in his quarters. And now jumping down, he's just going to go right into this site to take back control. HellRaisers are smart, though. They have him boxed in. They know exactly where he's going. Tapping away some damage over there, I believe, on towards Angel. Bring him down a bit lower. But now he's trapped, and he's got to find a way out.
Dignitas desperately need Tensky to pull off one of his plays of the tournament. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door, Tensky. Just getting wrecked. The mind games are real. He's got 5 health.
Every time he opens it, he takes like 20 more damage.
Hold the door. Wrecked.
And now he's going to go down there as they eliminate him. HellRaisers, assuming we don't see a success on a second round force-up from Dignitas, they will be able to keep the advantage going strong into the second half. And in comes that force-up, so we'll see what Dignitas can do now with a possible Tech 9 aggressive play on this map.
HellRaisers mixed bag of weaponry, of course completely viable. Want to get the farming in effect from that MP9, MP7 and P90. The FAMAS and the Oscar's M4 for the heavy support. Stiko has picked one of the best positions you could probably go for alongside the MP7, but the vent dive is in effect again, and Config will lead the charge with the bomb in his hand to get this bomb planted. But the problem again for Dignitas is, yes, you've got the bomb planted, but it's a 4-on-2, and you're 4-12 behind.
Rubino tried to line up a flank, but didn't have the best of luck outside, and well, he almost picked up a kill, was eventually picked off. Now Config and Tensky back-to-back trying to hold this off. Config finds his first mark, but he's not going to be able to save his teammate now as Tensky rolls out, and both of them will fall. Indeed, back-to-back as well. Angel and Bondik holding off that retake, and causing a 13th round now for HellRaisers, 3 away from taking this map and elevating themselves, I believe being 1 more win away from the spot at the major.
Fair play to Dignitas though, they do get the bomb planted. It does mean for this round at least, it's going to be pistols and not much else. Maybe a full-on deco. Go on Tensky, you know you want to. Don't let me down, don't leave me hanging, bro.
Yes!
Yeah! That is a full-on deco. Just Eagles, nothing else. Can Dignitas go big? We saw Config land a couple one-taps earlier on the CT side, maybe. You can burst that out again, but that's really the only hope that Dignitas have of getting anything out of this round, is a couple crazy angels that go the way of the Danes, plus the Norwegian, of course.
Config placing himself on top of the box outside too. Probably the most overexposed player on the team at the moment, but more of them going to be jumping up to take control of the rafters there. Angel, though, already punishing the first one, but Cajun B responds. He is able to pick up a kill on towards Angel. Take him down, and ooh, a bit of a mistake there from Oscar. Leaves himself out in the open for too long, and that's a super long-range shot from Dignitas. Takes down Oscar, destroys him, you could say. And all of a sudden, it is going to be a 4-on-3 in the favor of Dignitas for now, but no recovered guns being found as of yet, so they're still only working with those Deagles.
Great start though. We did touch on this before, that it is one of their keys to success, and maybe drawing this back in their favor. Config going for the wall bangs into heaven, but Bondik a bit too close by, but goes for the reload and gets caught with his pants down. There's Config, gets the kill. Meanwhile, speaking of getting caught, MSL from behind, a bomb's been dropped as well. The LANXESS not quite got the range to defend this push off, but if they get too close, he will put them down with authority. An M4 in the hands of Config, however, as a result of getting the kill up in heaven. 30 seconds left. HellRaisers have each other's backs. All 3 players from Dignitas will be funneling their way onto A's. The bomb was picked up and will scamper away, scurry into the vents. And Cajun B will get this down. A bit awkward though. Ran pretty much face planted into the vent. Never like to see it.
Stigo is a great bait there too at the top because he gets the support of his teammate below, but he doesn't actually pop up just until he's fired off a couple shots and draws the attention of that player playing from outside of the garage. And as soon as he does, well, out comes Zero with a much better gun and is able to take him down from that long-range position. But now they move back in. Stigo reapproaching this from the new hallway, spots Cajun B, but he's safely tucked away behind the generator. And now Cajun B going to be turning around, tries to close it out, but Stigo finds that kill. Rubino going to be the last one up and going now. Edge of the ramp room here, and the smoke coming in. He's going to try to find the connection at long range, but Stigo with the USP takes him down, and HellRaisers again recover in this round, bring themselves just 2 away from taking the map.
Yeah, that second bomb plant in a row would afford them an AWP with a pretty healthy amount of grenades as well if they wanted to go for it, but it looks like it's just going to be full on AKs. I said this before, Empire got a lot of success from just very fast A pushes through Squeaky Door. I'm curious if that may be in the back of Dignitas' mind. Obviously, picking up an AWP in that kind of a strat would make no sense. But it's not going to be a fast play. Instead, opting to maybe get a set play in the works outside.
Some smokes and whatnot from MSL mainly going to be thrown towards outside to draw some attention there, but you can see a lot of the players, including the bomb, right now are shifting their way over through radio to work their way over towards the ramp room. So we're going to be trying to control Secret there, I imagine. They actually catch the mid boost. Zero tries to recover from that, but he only picks up 1 frag. And Rubino and Cajun are able to take down the 2 from HellRaisers that tried to play aggressively here. Stigo though pushing out from Secret, finding another pickup there, taking down MSL, and then promptly retreating back downstairs in the event that they move out quickly to take him down.
One planted again for Dignitas. Keeping this one close for now. Even though it's 14 for 4, there have been a lot of chances for Dignitas to pull a trigger and get more rounds on the board. Tensky gets caught from behind though. Angel lurking in the shadows, and now Dignitas don't have a great deal of health. 60 between the last 2 remaining players. Make that just 27. Cajun B, Intoxic is a very isolated position, especially if he's spotted. Continuing, Bondic has an incendiary. Angel comes in, lands the headshot, and HellRaisers are going to have 11 match points.
HellRaisers can find no flaw, and for Dignitas, it seems they've made a horrible mistake when going for this map again, as now they're at the very, very edge of this one, and it looks very, very likely that HellRaisers should be able to take this matchup. Dignitas, though, having another strong buy coming in, 4 AKs, this time the AWP also in the picture for Cajun B. So maybe if they can get a pick or 2 with that to open things up, they can start off, but HellRaisers have already come back numerous times from outnumbered scenarios on both halves. So they're going to need a big advantage in order to try and piece together these rounds. And not only this, but win 11 in a row to take this to OT.
Soul destroying for Dignitas. If they lose this heavily, may have thought that, hey, boys, the veto's gone the way we wanted. But what they weren't expecting and anticipating is HellRaisers would be godlike on Nuke. And that's pretty much been the state of play. Tensky giving another lifeline to Dignitas, which Stigo would like to unplug as soon as possible. But, well, his life has been ended. Bondic on 28, and HellRaisers not really in the position to stop this outside push, which is where Dignitas are putting the bulk of their aggression through Secret towards the B site. Although Zero is here. Let's see if he can stop this push by himself.
It's all going to be coming through the double doors right now as they pop it open. He looks away just the wrong time, and Config decks him just to the ground. So Bondic will be the last one going with only 28 HP. There is nothing that he can do, and you can already see him retreating. He's going to cede this round to Dignitas. We'll just try to save that M4 for the next one.
Yeah, their economy's not in great shape either for HellRaisers, so definitely want to just save this. They may be able to drop a weapon and get some kind of a force up. Then again, when you're so many rounds in the lead, do you just want to save until you've got a really healthy buy-up? I'd probably say yes. There's no rush here for HellRaisers. But that's the only way Dignitas will get back into this game. They've got to consistently break HellRaisers' economy back-to-back. It's the only way. Otherwise, eventually the war of attrition will go the way of HellRaisers.
And for Bondic here, going all the way back towards T-spawn, he's definitely going to be safe to make it out of this round. But still so impending against Dignitas now that they've built such a huge wall around themselves and allowing HellRaisers to come back in so many close situations. You can see the fact that Dignitas managed to get 3 plants in a row on the second, third, and fourth rounds and basically almost hold them out, but HellRaisers continue to retake them despite, in some cases, being entirely outnumbered is miraculous in itself. So even though we do see a round or 2 being picked up by Dignitas here and they're holding on for now, the big issue is still there that HellRaisers have come back from insurmountable odds so many other times.
Well, this is where the question mark came into this round for me. Are we going to see a force or not? Because HellRaisers only have a 5-7 on Angel. They don't have that many grenades. They've only got 1 defuse kit as well. And as I said, there's no rush here. There's no desperation for HellRaisers to finish this right here, right now. If Dignitas win this, It could even be into double eco territory for HellRaisers, and they can get themselves right back into this map. But MSL goes straight through, takes down Oscar, who had the AWP. Second kill comes in, and Dignitas looking pretty for this round at least. A lot of map control, MSL all the way around the back of the config. And Bondik now caught in two minds. Does he stay or does he go?
Nice
The
drop
answer is
down.
goes, and he gets the kill.
Nice drop down from Bondik, though, moving into Hell. He's going to pretty promptly move his way back up. Needs to be careful, though, of someone approaching him from the top railways there. Still not going to be finding anything just as of yet. And with that kill he's found, I actually should think it draw the rotations away from the B-bomb. So we did see a couple players investigating down there previously, and Stico actually getting aggressive, pushing all the way into the team main room. Almost finds a kill, too. Brings Rubino down fairly low.
Still a lot of map presence from Dignitas, and it just got a whole lot better. Rubino connects the dome shot onto Stico. 35 seconds, but Bomb still in control of Dignitas. Although, again, it's very reminiscent to the last round when we saw Zero try and fend off this B play by himself. It's now Bondik and Hut who puts down Rubino. So, yes, it's a 3-on-2, but considering the time, it just takes one big play. That bomb gets dropped in a bad position, and HellRaisers could actually take this and the map. So it's not a guarantee. Bondik with a second kill. And now the bomb is forced to maneuver its way onto the B site, which it will be planted on.
Config just putting it right behind the generator. This Cajun B is up close. A headshot, no scope on a Bondik. Just after he had been hit as well, so keeps him in this one. And for Zero, he's still so far away from the action. There's no way he could hope to pull off this retake, at least in theory, but he's now going to drop down and try to go for it. There's no one there. Just pre-firing at this point. With the smoke, he's going to roll out through the vents there. Ends with a flashbang. He's going to attempt this. And as he goes out, there's the first pickup. Now all he's got to worry about is Cajun B, who's sitting inside of the new hallway there, hiding safely behind the door, but it's going to pop open. Cajun B can easily mind game on this one, but Zero going to close it, and he's just going to hold it now, still faking it at this point. Cajun B peeking. He's out of time to be able to defuse this, and there's a bit of a struggle through the door. He will find the kill, but he's definitely not going to find the round. And I don't think he's going to survive that explosion. He will go down. Cajun B, indeed, having the superior position there, is able to close out the round, but again, at a very heavy cost, and it immediately destroys any money that Dignitas would have had in reserves here.
Herein lays the issue I was talking about as well, with HellRaisers going for that force. About 1,900 and a bunch of players, they're likely going to be double ecoing, so this gives Dignitas the chance to maybe get back to a 15-8 scoreline. Sure, that's still an uphill climb to say the least, but that's a whole lot better than what they were facing off against a few moments prior. So this is one of the chances for Dignitas to start to get that momentum, to start to get the wind in their sails, and to cruise towards a comeback. But this would be one of the sickest comebacks I've seen in recent memory, if they're able to pull the trigger and do it.
Cajun B up on top of the silo, but there's nothing being found from HellRaisers. They're all playing extremely passively now. They've been running the cash here, and MSL, along with Config, pushing out together there. They find the first target, taking down Angel, and already there that shatters a lot of the defenses, considering Team Dignitas have a full grasp on the building itself. Now they just need to go inside, but it's actually a nice double push from Stico and his teammate, able to take down Rubino at the very least. So they're brawling back, and now with an AK in hand, Stico has a bit more firepower to work with.
It comes in as a result of Dignitas being much more happy to aggress outside rather than hold lobby inside. And this is something that could come back to haunt them later on. Config gets tickled by the Molotov, and there's Stico standing tall with the frag. Zero as well, and HellRaisers, all credit to them. They are going to bow out of this round, but they put a hell of a fight up. They took 3 players down from Dignitas in a straight-up eco, and as a result, they can actually get a buy here. It's going to be without an AWP unless Stico wants the glass cannon one. So again, it's not a great buy. It includes 0 kits, but it's good enough, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of utility added into it, too. So a decent amount of smokes, mollies, and a couple HEs around the board. There's definitely still some ideas to buy. The missing kit, though, is definitely going to run into an issue, especially considering some of the very close situations this is turned into now, with HellRaisers pulling off these clutch retakes towards the end, and unfortunately just not having enough time to defuse the bomb a few of the rounds now. So for Dignitas, though, it's par of the course so far, as from what we've been seeing from them. They're just going to be moving towards outside and taking control for here. Angel wrapped around the back, but with that smoke setup, he's not going to be able to see a single thing. It's Stico that has to go first, finds the first kill, but it's only a 1-for-1.
Yeah, important core mechanics of the T side is get the Avenge frag. And that's exactly what happened in Secret. Cajun B, meanwhile, getting a lot more success with the AWP on the T half as opposed to CT. So really have no impact with the sniper rifle whatsoever. But again, HellRaisers fall into a similar trap of getting a buy, but with a lack of utility, a lack of kits, as you highlighted as well. And these are the ways that they can very quickly have Dignitas breathing down their necks. So another pressure situation for HellRaisers. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination. You've got Zero, Bondic, and Angel still standing. Angel playing Decon, just waiting for this push, and he's actually in a very good position to potentially fend this off by himself.
Dignitas moving in like a single unit now as they check all the hallways, making sure nobody flanks against them. Angel may get an opportunity to take Tensky down by himself, and in fact he does. Takes it out to hold control of the new hallway. And now from this point, the guys on Dignitas actually need to move in to take control pretty quickly as they've only got 20 seconds left. I like the position of Rubino though, so they're up on top there, and it's going to find him a kill. Not only this, but Angel, his one frag from earlier is the only one he's going to get. Config takes him down, but look at Zero coming in. What a response from Cajun B though. Survives that with 4 HP, flicks around, shuts down Zero, and it will be now the 8th round for Dignitas.
Considering that Config was on about 12 health as well, had Cajun B not land that sick flick shot, that could have been up in the air for HellRaisers. They could have potentially taken that one away and broken down Dignitas and detook the map. So again, it's going to be an eco for HellRaisers. Dignitas will be eyeing up the double digits. 20 for 20 for Config. He does have a bit of support this time now from Cajun B, who was a bit lapse, I think it's safe to say, on the first half. Sticko, 24 and 15. Oscar, not quite up there with him, just the 16 frags. But there's Rubino. Will break the deadlock. Bondic goes down without a fight.
And once again, it's going to be that outside control from Dignitas. It's been working great for them so far, but so really no reason to change that as MSL continues to rack up the fragging count there, taking down Angel. The last 3 on the side of the CTs now, pretty spread out. Sticko, it looks like he's going to try to push up through secret steps there, but somebody's watching out for that on the outside. You can see Tensky just waiting for that in the event Sticko does decide to go for it, but ultimately Dignitas are in the driver's seat now, and as they move in, just a few more players to knock out before they do indeed close out this round without a real fight coming against them from HellRaisers.
You see one of the main changes since the ult and the new nuke Dignitas and indeed HellRaisers made a lot of use of, and that's the outside catwalk into heaven. Oscar tapping with the USP. Any other pistol, apart from the Glock, obviously, and he probably had that kill. Bit unfortunate, but hence the nature of ecos. And Dignitas only losing Tensky, move one step closer to overtime.
6 to go now, so starting to become a possibility, but there's always the chance that one round does just end all the hopes and dreams. And indeed, it's going to be coming now on a full buy from HellRaisers. Back in with an op on Oscar. Everybody else, exactly what they need to try and close this down. So we'll see if they can actually try and confidently hold outside, which has always been the pressure issue. Team Dignitas just almost always seem to take control of things from that point forward. And take control of outside there, it's actually fairly light, to be completely honest. They really only have Angel watching it, and it's fairly passive. They're just going to let them take it, but you can see this time, though, it's not as active on the outside take from Dignitas. Only really Config and MSL moving in to take control now.
Yeah, stacking a few players up in ramp, so maybe going to try and get their way back outside. If they get a kill, try and get through Hell. Instead, deciding to go down secret, so it's going to be a 2-pronged attack onto B. Zero is the key man. He needs to get a kill, but he's got Zero written all over him, and he does 0 in this round for his team as well. And the reason I said that is because suddenly that opens the floodgates onto the B side. They wrap around from the 2 sides, and that's going to be a comfortable plant and very difficult for HellRaisers to retake now. A 5v3 retake on B is almost impossible. It takes a massive misplace from Dignitas, basically.
Yeah, and they're already calling it off. You could see Bondic, along with his teammate over there. I believe that's going to be Oscar falling back just to save. Abel's going to the other spawn. No way they can afford to do that one now. And this is where things start to get a bit iffy now, because Dignitas not only are taking control, but they're doing it solidly, and it's not just off of one strat that continues to work over and over again. They're actually consistently adapting this too, and they have a couple of new things to throw against HellRaisers. So, working out great so far. But this save is still going to be good for HellRaisers to maybe go right into the next round with still a whole lot of firepower. So Dignitas moving out now to try and shut some of this down. They're going to be pushing in towards T-spawn.
Angel, can he? No, he can't. Goes down, takes a player with him. And the interesting thing for me is, like, you know, we've discussed this before. Dignitas only got 4 or so rounds on their T-half yesterday, so they've already done 2 better than that so far today as the pause comes in. And the main issue for that was Cyber Focus had crazy outside control with the AWP. He was playing in Garage and he was also mixing it up, going into main, looking through into Hut as well. It really does baffle me that Oscar isn't having the same level of potency, because this is a guy that pretty much on any map, you give him an AWP and you say just hold this position and he'll hold it for days. But it just doesn't really seem to be having the same impact as Cyber Focus did yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar overall just has been fairly, like, in this matchup. definitely better adjectives to describe him with, but
not terrible, but like run-of-the-mill border play.
Yeah.
Sort of like mediocre, nothing particularly outstanding.
like doing what he needs to, but just not, you know, not the all-star that we know him for. It's been Sticko and Angel, and in all honesty, Angel's kind of fallen off a little bit too since we've gone into the second half now. It's not these big plays that we saw on the T side that allow them such good control, and especially in the later portions of the round twos where he was really impacting, but it's not so much anymore. It's kind of the same thing as Oscar right now, where he's doing his job, but it's not anything like all-starish to push them over the edge and allow them to pick up these rounds. Sticko has been the main driving force so far, but with him really being that main player that's doing it, it's just not allowing enough here for HellRaisers to pick up that final round, as Dignitas have really found their stride and are just rolling with it now as this second half gets deeper and deeper.
One of the reasons why I mentioned Cyber Focus is because that's one of the key integral parts of this T round for Dignitas. They're consistently, even when they're pushing B, even when they're pushing A, they're having 2 or 3 players will go outside, take control of a secret, take control of a catwalk, and then it keeps the CTs guessing. They can't fully focus their defenses on one site. They have to be open-minded and realize, well, there could be someone sneaking behind me right now. Whereas Cyber Focus was locking down outside by himself, which funneled Dignitas into more of these A and ramp-centric plays, which are much easier to take down because they're bottlenecks at the end of the day. Well, a couple well-placed Molotovs and it just stops the push. So if Oscar can, maybe this is what I'm talking about right now, I have no idea, but if Oscar can start to get more of a grasp of outside, then that in itself could just straight up win HellRaisers this match.
And one lurking issue for Dignitas too is the fact that despite them doing well now, there is one player for Dignitas that's still lurking towards the bottom of the scoreboard, Tensky, who's been put into a couple situations where he's been asked to clutch and has just not been able to do it. Yep. Fairly top-heavy performances with Config and Cajun B leading the way at 22 and 20 frags for either one of them. So it's one of those situations, especially on the T side, where so long as you're keeping them alive, yes, things are going to go well. But if it comes down to the wire and you're asking someone like Tensky to clutch in a 1-on-3, that could be the thing that tips it over the edge. It's just the fact that he's not really performing right now. So keep that in mind. If it comes down to a pressure situation and he's one of the members still left alive for his team, he's going to need to step up big time there to try and close it out.
I think with Config as well, yes, he's got 22 for 20, which is a solid performance, but out of those 22 kills, at least half of them, I'd say, have been massive impact frags. You know, he got the 4K earlier on the CT side, giving Dignitas one of their 4 rounds in total. He's been getting consistent entry frags as well on the T half. He has been incredibly instrumental in Dignitas even getting close to this comeback. But here we go, HellRaisers. How are you going to filter out? Are we going to see the changes that I mentioned, or is it going to be more of the same? It appears from Oscar's movement, it's going to be more of the same for now, with a lot of emphasis put on A. Oh my goodness, the meat grinder in effect, the blink of an eye! One of the fastest rounds of Counter-Strike you will witness. HellRaisers take it in style. You can see what Dignitas were going for. Like, okay, a pause, they're probably going to do something heavily strategic. Now let's just go for the rush. Right into the hands of HellRaisers.
6 rounds in a row for Dignitas, and that is how the streak will end and how HellRaisers will move themselves up another pool to be one more win away from a slot at ESL One Cologne 2016. And unfortunately for Dignitas now, they go down another one and will be at risk of elimination going into tomorrow's matches.
Because the terrifying thing, guess who else is 1 and 2? Immortals. So you do not want to be playing against them for your tournament life if you're Dignitas, and that is potentially what's going to be coming up. HellRaisers, they had the ace up their sleeve the whole time. They've been banning Nuke, they've been trying to avoid it, and then as soon as Dignitas are there, all right, boys, let's do this.
That's always been the thing. I think it's been brought up on the analyst desk a couple times of all these teams like playing chicken with it and maybe not wanting to reveal that, oh, maybe we are pretty good on this map. We're just going to continue to ban it, though, to give out the false hope that, oh, you know, we don't want to play this map at all. We're really bad at it. It's just going to be an instant ban from us. But for HellRaisers, that was the ace up their sleeve, and they've used it quite well here to keep themselves in good presences so far, at least for now in the event.
Definitely good poker face. You know, they've been bluffing and bluffing and bluffing, and Dignitas just didn't call it. They ended up getting wrecked, and a much-deserved victory for HellRaisers, showing what they're capable of. And finally, I get a chance to say it wasn't the Oscar show. Sticko, well played to you, sir. That was a really solid performance. 27 for 17. Astounding play. And not only him too, but we mentioned this during the pause, Angel with some really good pickups there. There was that play from Heaven where he just drops down and has a monster retake there for his entire team. And not only on that, but on the T side as well, making sure that they maintain control of those post-plant scenarios. Angel definitely another force to be reckoned with here from HellRaisers, and it will be interesting to see how those sorts of things with Sticko and Angel evolve over tomorrow when they still have to play their next matches to try and qualify. Do you think that's the end of this Nuke dream for Dignitas in this tournament? Do you think they would go back for it a third time? I don't think so, because, I mean, here's the thing. Even I'm sort of questioning as to why it's pulled in again, considering it was still very close when they played it up against their last opponent there, which, when I believe it was against Empire. But we'll leave it to the analysts to talk a little bit more about that, but for now, we do have an interview down on the stage.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and what an interesting game that one was. I'm stood here with the man Sticko, who had an excellent performance in that game as well, especially early on. I think I want to ask a question that everyone probably has on their lips right now. You banned Nuke twice, then you busted it out now. Was this planned, or was this honestly just random? It just worked out this way?
So we had a really long discussion yesterday and today as well about Vitos against Dignitas, because they seem to always beat us on our picks, and we had a quite better record against them. And we won only like 4 maps out of last 20 against them. So we had to change something, obviously, and that was change we decided to go for, and it was different map pool. And it paid out. We had a really strong start. We caught them off guard, I would say, even though we had a simple game with just important info, and our aim was on point, and we just kept rolling. We had a pretty big choke in the CT half, but we managed to close it out earlier.
It's quite funny because as the veto happened and as it finished up, the analyst said, I'm calling you out, Vendetta. He said, I think HellRaisers have made a big mistake here in choosing this map. So he's obviously proven to be wrong. Let's quickly just talk about those last few rounds as well, because obviously starting on the T side so strongly and then going to CT to close things out, you would definitely think that might be a little bit easier normally, but you did slow up a little bit. Was there anything big stopping you there, or was it an economical problem, or what can you say about it?
I think the really big issue was the KGMB's op. We tried to play around him a lot, especially outside. We tried to hide a lot, and we didn't want to give them early picks. We didn't want to play in disadvantage 4v5, but somehow he kept picking us, and he was really good at it. And I mean, we decided to pause the game to breathe. We didn't discuss anything new. We just breathed the whole 2 minutes, just kept sitting and talking about basics of the Counter-Strike. But that's really all about it is. So we just managed to close it out against them.
It's probably the most striking performances after a timeout I've ever seen. It's just you're losing 5 rounds in a row, you have a bit of a chat, and then you just win the next round like that. It was stunning work. Hey, thank you very much for joining me here. All pleasure as well. Hopefully we get to see you soon, Sticko. Good to chat, but there it is. HellRaisers, stunning stuff from them on Nuke as well. Maybe not as planned as some people were thinking earlier on, but we saw they made some big changes after their last few games. Now, Alex, you've tried to imitate my Aussie accent a couple times, so I'm going to pass it over to my China plate. It's bloody Alex Richardson.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that one. Yeah, he's got me there. I've got me on a box, but let's just kind of quickly highlight an awesome interview from Sticko. I haven't heard him speak too much English. The dude's Whoa! The dude's fluent. The dude is fluent. There I get going a bit casual. I catch myself. Composure. Vendetta, Lauren, hey, right. So let's go back to not only Mitch calling you out, Halvor, but also how we were blown away by that first half from HellRaisers. I mean, that's something that we'll be remembering for a while. I actually can't help but think that that's one of the biggest examples of winning the veto, that ace up the sleeve that we keep joking about.
Yeah.
That's real. That's legit.
Absolutely. Well, we didn't really get a clear answer as to how much they've actually practiced it. But, you know, for the better part, Sticko said that they kept it pretty simple for the better part. And truthfully, their T-side was fairly straightforward. They were focusing on getting players out in yard, actually utilizing the new railings for Birdwalk. And you saw that pay off in, you know, big time with Angel coming around for two situations where he actually ends up winning a round simply off of it. So, you know, HellRaisers is definitely showing that they have a good understanding of what this new map actually brings in terms of opportunities and whatnot. So, very, very cool to see.
Yeah, just to follow on to that, the combination between Angel and Sticko then playing the outside was absolutely phenomenal. Really like the support from Silo. For me, it's just been waiting to see someone to actually try and do that sort of play, especially utilising Yard as much as they did, because NIP used to do this a hell of a lot, and it was incredibly frustrating to watch, going, why hasn't someone stopped this yet? But it was really nice just seeing another team be able to find fluency on their T side, also showing they had a nice A hit as well with the mollies. I think Rabino actually stopped it by just sitting by the old vent that you can no longer get down and just spraying them down, not actually pushed into the side. But theoretically, that's a very nice T side, and beyond that, when you have that much of a lead on the T side on Nuke, it's pretty much you're going to probably win this one out.
And just kind of stepping back to reflect on the map as a whole, is it safe to say that's probably one of the most coordinated new Nuke games we've seen?
I'd say competent, maybe not coordinated. I don't think they were like super stratted. I think they were, as I said, they just knew what they were doing. They knew how to play the outside. They played for info. They played really well on it. I think we've seen probably more, I guess, like strategic, you know, kind of like really stratted to the nine sort of approaches, but they didn't particularly need it. They did exactly as they had to do on that one for me.
Honestly, it's probably Dignitas who brought more strats out than HellRaisers on their T side. It's just that, well, HellRaisers didn't have to. They were finding picks and they were finding openings and given map control in a manner that they were comfortable with on their T side, but not having to do anything out of the ordinary, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I mean, upon reflection, it does mean that Dignitas are in a rather dire state. Let's quickly just talk about that one. Dignitas then are now likely to meet Immortals. In fact, they have to meet Immortals in one way or another. We were just talking about in the green room, however, that this now makes things very difficult for Dignitas, and I'm starting to get flashbacks of the previous major qualifier. It shows real likelihood that this could happen all over again for the Danes.
Yeah, it could very well happen. Or the Brazilians could have another heartbreak because they can either play up and the next matchup and one of the teams can knock each other out at that point, or it could come to one of the actual final games of the entire qualifier, which would be a pretty crazy way of ending the entire thing.
Yeah. Either way, it will be determined tomorrow. They're going to go ahead, put their feet up, put their heads together, and try and work things out. Emotions are running high here in Katowice for the major qualifier, of course, $1 million major in Cologne. The LANXESS Arena will be electric very, very soon. In fact, it is just next month. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, it will be our 4th game of the day. We get to see what Flipside can do versus Optic. It's going to be another battle of the 1-win, 1-loss brigade, and we'll be looking into that in just a moment.